Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Voices of Forestry podcast. I'm your host, Seth Stephenson, the communications coordinator with the Arkansas Forestry Association. We're back this month with a new topic, a new episode, and a new Voice of Forestry. This month, we're going to be talking about recreational land. I'm not even quite 100% sure what recreational land is, so we're all learning together here at the Voices of Forestry. But to help us learn is Mark Knight, the CEO of DuBose Knight Forestry and Real Estate. Mark, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Seth. Glad to be here. We definitely appreciate everything the Arkansas Forestry Association does for our industry and our clients, and thankful to be a part of this.
Yeah, DuBose Knight is another one of our members, and we work with you guys quite a lot throughout the years. So it's great to have you here to sit down and talk about this new topic. We were scheduled to talk last week, but Snow had other ideas, so I'm just glad to be out of my house for at least a day. So it's good we're able to get together. So
yeah, that was a totally different recreational event.
It was nice for the first couple of days, and then it became real annoying real quick.
I think everyone's glad it's gone.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Mark, before we hop into what exactly is recreational land, just kind of tell us what exactly you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, we work, our firm manages timberland, and then we also have a real estate brokerage division, which is where I spend the majority of my time. I get to work with a great team of professional foresters, real estate agents, and appraisers, serving our clients by helping them sell property, sell timber. And what we'll be talking about today is we help our landowners that have properties sell those to people looking for recreational opportunities, whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, number of things you can do in this great state we live in. So most of my time spent on the real estate side trying to run a real estate company.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about, tree farms and property for a financial profit, or just, as a business, property as a business, but recreational land we haven't quite delved into just yet. So I think this will be good to kind of show the different sides of what property can do for you. But to begin with, let's just define recreational land. What is that? Just what is it, I guess,
Yeah. So recreational land, that's a broad term, especially in Arkansas. There's so many things you can do. You can hunt deer, turkey, ducks. That's probably the premier recreational opportunity in Arkansas would be duck hunting, in my opinion, on land. And then you have the recreational fishing, and the hiking's big in the state with the different topography we have. People getting out and doing things in nature, as we've experienced a significant increase in people looking for recreational land, which means sometimes just getting away from the big city these days. So it's a broad term and means something a little different for each individual, but if you own land in Arkansas, it can fall into the classification of recreational land. Just the quality of that can differ.
Okay. So when we talk about having a tree farm, is there a difference between that type of property and a recreational land property, or are they one and the same? Can they be similar? What's the difference there?
They can definitely be one and the same. We have families that own tree farms that they spend a lot of time hunting on those properties, and you can create a management plan that would allow for certain wildlife habitat benefits, as well as the economics of growing trees and having a income stream from the timber. So they definitely can be overlapping. Some people only are looking at it from a recreational standpoint. What can I do to increase my game habitat? So it can go from one extreme all the way to the other, but most commonly it's worked together where they balance the economics with what can we do to improve the time we get to spend on our property.
So with the people that you work with, you're seeing more of that shared use instead of one or the other. Is that right?
Yes, and it varies from, we have a lot of, we work for a lot of corporate industrial landowners. Their primary objectives would be to increase the productivity of their land for growing timber. However, a lot of those companies also have hunting leases on their property, and they have hunters, and they will make some accommodations for the hunters to have food plots, things like that, and make sure that the roads are kept and that they can mow some shooting lanes. So it's a combination.
So we've already kind of touched on the different uses for recreational land. Hunting obviously is a big one, especially here in Arkansas. But what other recreational uses can be used on this type of land?
One very popular one right now is fishing. A lot of people are just looking at a place where they can go to year-round. So if there's an opportunity to improve the property by building a lake, if it's on a river, that's very attractive right now. Moving water is what we're getting a lot of requests for. Do you have any property on a river? And then there's also folks that are into riding horses, riding ATVs, getting just anything that people can get away and do things, since so many of our activities have been taken away from us during this time. And I think what will happen is, as this trend continues, this will be something that a lot of individuals and families are going to want to have a place that they can get away and do all kinds of outdoor activities, whatever those may be, hunting, fishing, just being out.
Yeah. I know my folks, granted they're getting close to retirement. I mean, they've started looking at, big plots of land just to go out and be not in the city anymore. So, I've started to see that too in my own personal life. And I'll be honest, having some property next to a river just sounds nice in general, just a nice place to be. But you mentioned too that you're seeing a lot more people reach out asking about this type of property. Why is that, do you think? Why are people more interested in getting recreational land, or at least looking for recreational land?
Well, it goes back to there are not as many other activities that we can go do. We all can't go to the football games anymore. We all can't go to the events where there's a large crowd. So people are looking at what can I do on a weekend? And people that own land, they're already enjoying it. I had a client that was getting ready to sell their land near Hot Springs, and as COVID played out and continued, they said, hey, we've enjoyed just being able to go somewhere and walk around and get out and enjoy the property. So they put the brakes on selling their property. And then there's people that don't have land that want that exact same thing. They just want a place that they can go somewhere, spend time with family, and enjoy being out of the city, and enjoy especially in Arkansas, all the different lakes and areas that we have that you can own property and still be able to go do fun things on rivers and lakes. It's just a great place to do that.
It's tough to be in the natural state and not have an easily accessible natural thing to go do, especially nowadays. So.
Yes, with all the national forests and the state parks we have, that's why a lot of people from out of state are looking at Arkansas for recreational land.
So you saw this growth specifically around this time last year, that COVID started to really impact people. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. We actually, when COVID hit, everyone was very concerned about the economics of our business, and I know a lot of people have had unfortunate circumstances related to their main primary income sources. We experienced an unexpected increase in land sale volume, people actually looking for land during what is a pandemic.
So who's the typical client that you guys work with who's looking into recreational land, or who's purchasing recreational land?
Primarily it is an individual that's looking for a place to hunt and be able to spend time with their family. I just sold a property in Pope County, 2 guys that have retired. They are going in on it together. They're going to be able to take their grandkids out there and make memories.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure, when Max and I were kind of talking about some of the questions we wanted to ask, we weren't quite sure if there was going to be I guess a bin that you could put, all the people who are looking for recreational land, this is who they are. But that makes, total sense.
Yeah, you do have you have some corporate interests too that are looking for places that maybe they can take clients, find property, take clients hunting, and experience some things where they can get around some of the social distance requirements we're all facing right now.
So say I'm someone looking, to make memories with my grandchildren if I was, a couple decades older. But what are some of the things that I would need to be looking at before I really pulled the trigger on purchasing land? Are there things that you guys kind of have to walk clients through to get to that point where it's like, okay, yes, I want to purchase this land?
Yeah, really becoming focused on what are the 4 or 5 primary characteristics that they want in that land. Are they buying it primarily to hunt deer? Is it to hunt turkey? Is it to hunt ducks? Or is it near a place they can take their family fishing? Location's really key. And then it boils down to, okay, what's your budget? And do you want to buy a property that needs a lot of work? A lot of the institutional properties that we market have excellent roads and have been maintained very well for timber growth, and maybe an easier starting point for making something into a recreational retreat than something that maybe has been owned by an out-of-state landowner or someone that has neglected the property for a while, and that's going to take more work. And then obviously just knowing the finances and if they are working with a lender, we have to guide a lot of people that are just starting this process through how do you work with a lender and what kind of questions are they going to ask you.
So do you guys usually have do you have your clients usually come to you with like, yes, I know I want to have land for fishing, or I know I want to have land for hunting, or is that something that you guys again kind of have to walk them through?
Most of the people that contact us, they have an idea of what the primary use is going to be. So that part's pretty straightforward. If they are from out of state, they may have a wider region that they're looking, and that you tend to try to focus them down into an area that is workable, where, okay, you want to be within an hour of Hot Springs, you want to be within an hour of Texarkana, whatever it might be. That's where we usually spend a lot of time, and there's a lot of people that like to be up north and a little farther from Little Rock, where there's more mountains and views and things where it's not as much about what they're going to do, but just getting away.
Okay. Yeah, this is all very real estate-y, but this is why we have you, because this is all stuff that I'm not familiar with, and some of our listeners may not be super familiar with, but it's all interesting stuff. But before we continue on, Mark, we're going to take a quick pause. We have our first sponsor ever on the show, so we're going to take a brief pause to hear from them. We want to say thank you to them. It's Potlatch Deltic. Thank you, Potlatch Deltic. So we'll see you on the tail end of this ad.
At Potlatch Deltic, we know Arkansas, our forest, our land, and our people. We are here in Arkansas every day, sustainably managing timberland, producing lumber, developing Chenal properties, neighborhoods, and selling recreational real estate. If you're interested in having a place of your own for hunting, hiking, fishing, or just relaxing, visit our website at potlatchdelticlandsales.com.
Thank you again to Potlatch Deltic for being our very first sponsor. It's a very exciting time here at the Voices of Forestry headquarters. So thank you one more time to Potlatch Deltic. So Mark, let's continue. We've talked about kind of the real estate side of everything, but I want to move into just the management. We've talked about, last month we talked about best management practices. We've talked about having a management plan for your land if you're specifically a tree farmer. But how might recreational property be managed differently than for like a tree farmer or for just timber production in general?
Yeah, there are a number of different ways that a landowner can carry out the objectives of growing timber while also making some improvements to the wildlife habitat. And a lot of our clients do take advantage of the resources that the NRCS Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. I know I listened to Luke Lewis's podcast where you had him on talking about wildlife. We have a lot of our clients that seek their input and take advantage of some of the plans where they can establish grasses and other things that the wildlife will benefit from. And if they choose to go that route, there's requirements that they must follow and steps that they must go through to do that. A lot of times on a management plan could be as simple as, hey, I want to open up this area to make it more open and more accessible. We can help them with put them in touch with a contractor that has a bulldozer or something to open up a road, open up a shooting lane, get a tractor and mow some lanes. Just some simple things can go a long way when you're taking a tree farm and making it more into a recreational property.
And now I'm making some assumptions as we go into this, but this is something else too that you guys help your clients with, correct?
Right.
Is getting that management stuff set up.
Yes, and then we'll even, if they, depending on the level of their objectives on what they want to do on their property as far as wildlife goes and recreation, we'll consult with third-party contractors that are specialize in certain areas, quail habitat, duck improvements, in quality deer management, things like that. We will go outside of our own office and seek the help of professionals, and that's one of the reasons if a recreational buyer is out there looking, it's great to work with a professional land broker that has those relationships that can point you to other resources that may not be something that our company provides, but was willing to help you get what you want done, even if it's not a service that we provide.
Okay, awesome. Now we mentioned, you can have recreational land for both recreational use and as a timber production. So I'm assuming that the management plan can kind of incorporate both of those into one mega plan, if you will. Okay.
Exactly, yeah. And all of our plans are, we a lot of times will give our clients a starting point, but their objectives weigh in and guide every plan that we come together and agree upon, because it's really their plan. What do they want? And that's our role, is to help the buyer find the property that he's really looking for, or she, and then the clients that we're selling for, what can we do on the front end to help your property look more attractive than the other properties on the market? Because if you go out and you do your research, there are a lot of recreational properties or just vacant land properties on the market, and what can you do to make yours stand out?
Now, we're talking about management plans, and this might sound like a dumb question, but I need to ask it. Do you guys recommend that people who have land just for recreational use, do you even suggest that they even have a management plan? Is that something that you would want them to have, or is it just optional?
I would recommend that everybody have some sort of plan. Now, there's different levels and how detailed you want to get with that, but if you don't have a plan, then there's going to be a lot of things that could go wrong just by inactivity. And we do recommend that our clients have a plan, whether it's just for what are we going to do with the timber. We were on a client call today talking about the future of their holdings, what can we do to change the income streams, etc. So I definitely would say any landowner should have a plan about just, even if it's just maintenance, maintaining boundary lines and maintaining your roads, because if all that's neglected, the value could be decreased. And
I said that knowing the answer, but we wanted to make sure that we get that out there. It's the same thing kind of with tree farms. It's not required, but it is highly suggested to have a management plan, so your property, again, the same stuff, doesn't fall into disrepair, for lack of a better term. So that's all good to know. I might have jumped the gun there a little bit, but we got there. So Mark, are there certain characteristics that the landowner needs to maybe look for or create to enhance the recreational use of their property if they're going for that type of property?
Yeah, the main thing to in our mind with a recreational property, that when you pull up to the property, you should just know that, hey, this place has been very well taken care of. This property is been managed well. It looks good. It'd be like if you're getting ready to put your house on the market. You want it to be in the most pristine shape that it's been in since you've owned it.
It's got to have that curb appeal, even if the curb is a dirt road.
Exactly.
So to speak. Yeah.
And those type of things can be as simple as putting up a new gate, which is a very inexpensive thing to do. But you want to, and the characteristics, specific characteristics, every property is unique. I get that question all the time. Well, what's recreational land or timberland worth? Well, it depends. So you really need to look at what type of timber, where is it, what's the potential, what can the property grow, what can it not, and create a plan and execute that based on what your property actually can do.
So it really boils down to, again, if I want my property for hunting, there's going to be a certain set of things I need to look for or do. If I want it for fishing, it may be a completely different set of things. So it really boils down to the initial use for that property. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
And it goes back to location, who your neighbors are, what's the surrounding property like. Are you surrounded by fields and pasture? Are you surrounded by privately held land versus public land? Things like that.
Okay. Now, here's something that I was curious about. Is there a certain section of Arkansas where there's more of this recreational land than in other sections? I would imagine central Arkansas may not be super conducive to recreational land, but is there a bigger concentration of it in certain parts of the state?
I would say, as far as the state goes, any area of the state has recreational property. Now, if you get around areas where there are lakes where a lot of people want to go boating and where there's bigger population centers, then the recreational value may be higher. But any part of the state has recreational aspects to it. Now, there's certain areas where in August you may not want to be out in those woods and walking around with the ticks and the mosquitoes and everything else that might come out, but there's still recreational property.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I've lived here for 28 years, and I'm still learning things about the state that I call home. So this is all excellent stuff. So where does a landowner need to start? Is it this management plan that they need to come up with this management plan first, or is there somewhere else that you would advise them to start to kind of get their so they can meet their objectives, I guess, is where I'm trying to get to.
An existing landowner?
Yes, yeah.
So, they would reach out to a professional consultant and seek some input, or even if it's something they maybe even get help from the NRCS, their local NRCS in the county office, and see if there are any recreational enhancement programs out there that they could take advantage of.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah, because I guess if I had bought land, just knowing that I wanted to use it for X, Y, and Z, I would have no idea where to even go from there once I've purchased the land. So this is good. Now, this is, again, probably another dumb question, but we got to ask. Is there an opportunity to earn income from a recreational property in addition to timber production, if that is a route that people choose to take?
Absolutely. A lot of the land in South Arkansas is owned by timber companies or larger timber investment groups, and that land is leased out for hunting. And it's typically an annual fee that a group of guys or a group of families might pay per acre. They pay a per acre fee. Now, the higher the quality of the recreation, there's a few tracts around central Arkansas that are you would consider just primarily timberland, but they have spent a lot of time managing the deer population, turkey population. Those will garner a higher return on the lease rate. So the effort you put in to make the property a better wildlife habitat, that there is a value there that the public and people that want a place to hunt and fish will pay for that. And there's fishing clubs, hunting clubs all over the state.
I can't help myself but compare it to I have this mental image of a house where you go in, you buy this house, and it's your house, but say you want to turn it into a bed and breakfast or an Airbnb, and you can rent it out to people. It's the same thing for forest land or recreational land. In my head, is that too much of a simplification, or am I on the right track there?
No, yeah, you're on the right track. If you're not going to take advantage of that opportunity yourself as a landowner, you can lease the land, and if you do that, you've got someone else that has a vested interest in helping you look after the property. They'll make some improvements, keep it picked up, keep it clean, plus you get some money in your pocket.
Okay, all right. Well, Mark, I think this is about covers everything we wanted to touch on with you today. Is there anything else that you want to add, or anything we need to kind of say?
Well, I would just add that if there are any recreational buyers out there that are listening to this, that one of the first things they need to do is find someone that they can work with, because it's buying a piece of property is different than going to the store and buying a new electronic device or something. It's there's some things that a knowledgeable land broker and someone in this industry can help guide you on, and you definitely want to go through the proper channels of title insurance and things like that may not be something that a new buyer would be aware of, but land professional or someone in our industry, another land, and there are a lot of great land brokers out there and other forestry companies that can help find that.
And I guess that's something else that we like to stress too is, we talk to professionals like yourself, and to let people know that there are people out there that have this knowledge and this background, and this is what you do for a living. So you know this topic, recreational land, and you can definitely help people who are needing it. So, well, Mark, again, thank you for joining me today. We finally able to sit down, and we really appreciate your time.
Thank you,
with
Seth,
us here.
and for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Thankful for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And we want to thank you guys for joining us this month for our Voices of Forestry episode. Again, I want to say a special thank you to PotlatchDeltic for sponsoring this month's episode. And as always, we want to say thank you to Rob McCormick / some guy named Rob for the use of our theme song. It's The Same Love off of his album, The Folkster. You can find more of his music on Spotify, and check the description of this episode for a link to his website. If you have more questions about the Arkansas Forestry Association, you can find us at arkforest.org. That's ARKFORESTS.org. Make sure and join us next month when we'll have a new topic, a new discussion, and a new Voice of Forestry.